Good day, fellow Gooners, Arsenal fans around the world, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are all very well today. Yep, News 24, Arsenal News 24, with some brand new breaking news, especially just for the most beloved fans in the world, the Gooners. So we've got a couple of news articles today that we should be going through. Um, I have been going through the news throughout the day, and I've selected some prime articles that I think is worthy of our attention. So let's start off with Give Me Sport. Some more updates on Rodrygo exclusive. Rodrygo talks scheduled as Real Madrid open to selling Arsenal target. Real Madrid are open to selling Rodrygo and prepared to sanction an exit of around 90 million euros. As Gimme Sport first revealed on our Market Madness podcast. However, Arsenal are waiting to discover whether the Brazilian is willing to leave. Okay, Rodrygo will hold talks with new coach Xabi Alonso after the Club World Cup, having played just 23 minutes at the tournament, featuring in the 1-1 draw against Al Hilal on June 18th. It is believed that Rodrygo could be tempted to join Arsenal because he's found starting hard to come by on the left-hand side at Real Madrid. Rodrygo was frozen out under Carlo Ancelotti towards the end of last season, although those close to the player deny that this was down to a poor attitude in training. Okay, so at this stage, Arsenal have only made preliminary inquiries, but their interest is genuine and active, and are now waiting for clarity on whether Rodrygo will ask to leave. Should he do so, Give Me Sport against the La Liga club wouldn't stand in his way. And at a player of his caliber, at 24 years old, he will be most hungry to join Arsenal and play on a weekly basis on the left in the Premier League. Arsenal weighing up whether to add a high-profile left winger, a move that will likely require the exit of Gabriel Martinelli or Leandro Trossard. The former is on the radar of Al Nassr, though Arsenal insiders insist they don't wish to sell. Trossard, on the other hand, has held positive talks over a new contract, but nothing has been agreed as yet. Okay, then they also say here that Chelsea could demand £60 million for Madueke, and Arsenal have held initial talks over a deal for the Chelsea-wide player. So we are being linked with Madueke, Eberechi Eze, and Rodrygo. That seems to be our main targets. There has been rumors of Ademola Lookman, but I think in this case, our main target will most definitely be Rodrygo, and we are just waiting to see what's going to happen after the Club World Cup. Now let's move on. Court offside reports. Journalist feels Arsenal are going to lose a player who is loved around Europe. Arsenal attacker Ethan Nwaneri could be on his way out of the club during the summer transfer window. Arsenal have been trying to renew his contract, but they have not succeeded in convincing the player. According to journalist and legend Graham Bailey, it looks like the 18-year-old could be on his way out of the club. Arsenal likely to lose Ethan Nwaneri. I think they're going to lose him, says the journalist. It's looking very, very bad for them in that area, and it's nothing to do with the finances. I'm told he's got his picks of clubs around Europe when he's out of contract next summer. Ethan Nwaneri will be one of the most wanted players around the world. If he gets to next summer and he hasn't signed his contract, he'll literally have his pick of clubs. He's loved around Europe. He's loved in England. He will have Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City. He will have them all on his doorstep. Now, this is exactly what I was saying on a previous edition of Arsenal News 24. If we don't give in Ethan Nwaneri more game time, he's going to leave the club. And here we can see, just days later, it is now being confirmed by Graham Bailey as well. Now, my thing is this. Odegaard, he's already basically reached his peak, in my opinion. Um, Last season was a sign that he is starting to stagnate in his development. And at 25, 26 years old, how much better could he really get? Whereas Ethan Nwaneri is a young teenager, a young man, a young player, eager to grow, and in my opinion, a much better football player. So I would rather sell Odegaard, even though that might sound crazy. I would sell Odegaard, um, or put Odegaard on the bench and let Ethan Nwaneri start as many games as possible, because he's got the talent, he's got the potential, and he can do it. The last thing we want is a Manchester United, a Chelsea, or a Liverpool or Man City taking one of the greatest ever academy graduates from the Hale End and making them into a top force. That would absolutely gut me. So there's some news on Ethan Nwaneri. Let's see what Football Talk has to say here. Arsenal agree personal terms with Sporting Lisbon superstar Viktor Gyokeres. Arsenal have made no secret about the desire to sign a new striker this summer and are looking to close in on a fresh acquisition before jetting off for pre-season mid-July. Mikel Arteta's side have been linked with a number of names across Europe in recent months, but it is starting to seem like Sporting Lisbon marksman Viktor Gyokeres has been zeroed in as a chief target. It's now reported Arsenal have an agreement in place with the Swedish international over a 5-year contract at the Emirates. Viktor Gyokeres had a fantastic campaign, netting 54 goals and creating 13 assists in all competitions. Gyokeres was also linked with Manchester United, but Arsenal seems to be in a comfortable position to see off interest from any Premier League rivals at this stage as a result of playing in the Champions League next season. It's now been reported Viktor Gyokeres has made it clear to Sporting Lisbon that he wishes to leave the club and is not expected to report for pre-season in a bid to force his exit. So, not really new to us here at Arsenal News24. We knew that this agreement was in place. And the main issue at hand seems to be the transfer fee, which Sporting Lisbon are not acknowledging a gentleman's agreement with Viktor Gyokeres. And yeah, that seems to be the situation there. So Gyokeres is now obviously trying to push through a transfer by not attending pre-season, and he also made it publicly clear that he will never play for Sporting Lisbon ever again. Some more news here for yet another striker, Benjamin Sesko to Arsenal. Transfer update as deadline set amid £80 million claim. And this is from Football London. Arsenal have been handed an update regarding their quest to sign RB Liepzig striker Benjamin Sesko. The Gunners are continuing to be heavily linked with signing Sesko as the summer transfer window rolls on. Talks have been underway between Arsenal and Leipzig for several weeks over a potential deal, but it's thought that not much progress has been made towards bringing the striker to the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal have been heavily linked with signing a new centre forward for many months, with Sporting star Viktor Gyokeres also a player of interest. A report in Team Talk has claimed that Arsenal have given themselves a deadline to finalise a deal for Sesko. It has been reported that mid-July deadline has now been set by the Gunners, which if not met will result in the club ending their interest and looking at alternative options. That alternative option will most likely be Viktor Gyokeres. Leipzig are reported to value Sesko at £80 million, with the article going on to say that Arsenal are only willing to pay £60 million for the Slovenian international. Now, this is a classic case of Arsenal never wanting to pay what players are actually worth. I mean, Leipzig are valuing Sesko at 80 million. I think that's quite a reasonable evaluation, considering the player's age, his experience, playing in the Champions League, and most of all, his ability. So if we lose out on Sesko, yet again, it will only be our own fault. Anyway, an update on Benjamin Sesko. Now, the most breaking news of the day. Thomas Partey. What have you gotten yourself into now, lad? What have you done? Thomas Partey was now accused of 5 counts of rape. Can you believe that? Thomas Partey's lawyer has released a statement now after the former Arsenal star was charged with 5 counts of rape. Thomas Partey lawyer has insisted the former Arsenal midfielder denies all the charges against him after he was charged with the 5 counts of rape and 1 count of sexual assault. The 32-year-old allegedly carried out the offences between 2021 and 2022, the Met Police said. Partey has been charged with 2 counts of rape of 1 woman, 3 counts of rape to a second woman, and 1 count of sexual assault of a third woman. In a statement, Partey's lawyer, Jenny Wiltshire, said her client fully cooperated with the police and CPS during the 3-year investigation. Thomas Partey denies all charges against him. She said he has fully cooperated with the police and he now welcomes the opportunity to finally clear his name, given that there are now ongoing legal proceedings. My client is unable to comment any further. So that's something we will have to keep an eye on. But generally speaking, I don't think that Thomas Partey is a rapist. I mean, he doesn't come across as that type of person. And we all know that as soon as someone with prestige and money gets into contact with the wrong type of woman, they will always use it against him and try and manipulate him. I mean, I've heard of silly stories of women poking holes in celebrities' condoms. And we also remember Mason Greenwood was also charged and found not guilty. So I have a funny feeling this could be similar. For all we know, these 3 women that have laid the cases against him could all be in contact with one another, for example. A major conspiracy to get money from the player, Thomas Partey. But yep, that's the news for today. We'll be back again tomorrow with more groundbreaking news regarding the Gunners. I hope you Gunners have a fantastic Friday further. God bless, and God bless Arsenal.